So far, some of the pivot tables I've demonstrated in the past videos, we have put maybe 2 or 3 different fields into the row area to kind of give us that grouping effect. Well, what happens if you want to group your data by a certain element, but that element doesn't exist in your data? So let me give you an example here. We have sales reps, and what we want to do is we want to create a pivot that shows, let's say, maybe the revenue, the profit, and the bonus that was generated or paid to these reps. What we want to do is we want to list out the reps, but we want to also put them into one of 3 different groups. In other words, all the reps either are what we would consider to be senior reps, junior reps, or rookie reps, depending on how long they've been on staff as reps. So the problem, though, is that we don't have a field that in here that designates that Fuller is a junior rep or Hendricks is a senior rep. Now, if you didn't know any better, what you'd have to do is, if you wanted to have this, you'd have to insert a new column here, and then you'd have to go ahead and put the corresponding label in there. So that way then we could grab that field and have that as one of the 2 fields that we would have in there. So we'd have like the senior and junior and rookie as the major field with those 3 items, and then we'd have the reps underneath each of those items, all right, depending on what they are. So we don't want to have to do that, but if you didn't know any better, that's what you'd have to do. So the easier way to do this would be to actually add the grouping in the pivot table itself. And it's a very simple process. It'll take you a lot less time to do that than it would having to go in here and update this with those corresponding group names. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to click anywhere in the data, go to Insert, go to Pivot Table, hit OK. There we are. Now, we're going to start out, first of all, we're going to bring in the reps, okay? And I'll bring in the full rep. That gives us the rep ID and the rep name, so we'll bring that into the rows, all right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the revenue. So our revenue is going to be the total sale. Do something like that. Then we're also going to bring in the bonus that they're paid, so their commission that they've been paid. We're going to bring that in, all right? And then I also want to bring in the profit. Well, again, we don't have the profit here, so we'll go back up into fields and items, go to calculated field, type in PR, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll bring in the field of total sale, which is the revenue, minus the total cost. And then we'll hit OK there. There it goes in. And then we'll go ahead and we'll bring that one and bring it down at the bottom. So now we've got all that in there. So we've got the, oh, what did I do here? Oh, it came in already automatically. So I need to do that again. So let's pull it out. Okay. So we've got all 3 of them. So then we'll go ahead and just relabel these. We'll make this one revenue. And then this one here will be the bonus. We'll just call it bonus. And then this will be the profit. All right. So there it goes. And then I guess I'll go in here and I'll double click that. Number format, number, commas, no decimal. And we got that. And then we'll do the same thing with the bonus. Double click that. number format, number, comma, 0, and there we go. All right, so that looks good. Let's also break this down into years. So of course we'll just have to go up at the top here, get our order date, put that right above the values field there, let go, and there it is. And of course it's giving us everything, so we'll click onto one of them, group field, get rid of months and quarters, and there's our years. So looking pretty good. Now to the good part here. I need to put a certain number of these reps in as far as what we call the senior reps, the junior reps, and the rookie reps, right? So we're going to say that the first, let's say the first 5 reps here are going to be what we call the senior reps. So what you do is you select the items, right? Then you go back into Analyze, and we want to group the selection. That's how easy it is. So we just go ahead and click on a group selection, and then we click up here, and we'll call this one the senior reps, just like that. Enter that in. There's your first group. I mean, it can't be, I mean, when you think about it, how much time it would have taken you to fill that one new column with one of 3 of these. This is crazy when you compare it. Now for the second group, we're going to pick Fuller, Control key, Ruger, Suyama, and then we'll do Lujack. Oh, I screwed that up. I accidentally hit my little wheel on the mouse and it kind of zoomed me. I didn't mean to do that, so sorry about that. All right, so again, I'll just click on a Fuller, Control key, Ruger, Suyama, and then Lujack and Walther. All right, now that's going to be my second group. So I just go back up here and hit group selection. Now that group, so that becomes group 2. Now that's going to be my junior reps. Oop. Okay, so junior reps, enter that in. And then this last group here, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of select it like that. That can be kind of sloppy. Hit group, and there they are. And now I'll make this one the rookies. All right, there we go. That worked out pretty good. Now I can go back in there and kind of, add a little formatting to it. So I'll go back to my design, go here, maybe make it green. All right. I'll go over here and do some banded rows, make it look kind of nice there. Put the blank rows in, between each of the groups. There we go. And I think that's about it. That looks good. Everything's all nicely centered up there already. We might even go ahead and go with the banded columns, only to kind of differentiate a little bit, but that'd be up to you how you do that. Now you'll notice that when we did these groupings over in the rows area where we originally just had the full rep field in there, it gave us a full rep 2. So the full rep 2 is basically the groups here. So that's what it created automatically. You'll even see it in here as well. Okay, there's your full rep 2. Now maybe you want to go as far as say, okay, maybe I create this pivot table and now I want to go ahead and get rid of the reps and just have the actual group name. So I can just go ahead and just take the full rep field out, just like that. And there we go on that one. So that looks pretty good. And then if you just decide, I think I want to put it back in there again, then I would go back in there and I'd find my rep field again, full rep or whatever you want to do. Put that underneath the other one. And there we are. Now we're back to what we had. Now we can play around with this a little bit and say, okay, how about if we keep the group in there, and we'll pull out the actual rep name, and we'll replace that maybe with the food category. All right, so we'll take the category, drag that underneath the rep, and now we have something like that. Now, I don't know if that would be worthwhile having, but somebody out there could probably use something like this as well. They can actually see what each of the groups sold and, profited and bonused, on each of those categories. Now, this next thing might be kind of a little enlightening as well, where we bring in the vendor. Kind of interesting here. So if we take the category out, put the vendor in there, we can actually see what vendors each of the rep groups kind of focused on. All right. I don't know if it's going to be summarized enough to where it makes any sense, but you'll have that. And then what you can also do then is we can take the vendor field and put it above the rep groupings, right? And do something like that. So we can actually see in each of the vendor groups or that we have here, we can actually see each of the 3 groups in there. So at least we can tell just by looking at this that all of the groups sold into every one of the vendors that we had there. So you see something like that. All right, so I got one more for you. We're going to do another grouping, another manual grouping here. And we're going to do this by vendor. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off the full rep here. All right. I'm also going to pull off the bonus like that. And I'm going to bring in the total cost. All right, so we'll put that maybe in between here. All right, so now we've got that. So now we can take that total cost. I can just call this one COG apostrophe S or something. Okay, there we go. Now, and I'll maybe even go over here and double click it, get it all kind of nice and tight. All right, and also with the cost of goods, double click that, number format, and no decimal places. All right, so perfect. Now the vendors or the suppliers fall into a number of different categories. We have the Chicago suppliers, we have the Australians, we have the Pacific, the Hawaiian, and the Atlantic suppliers, and we want to kind of group our vendors like that. Now, again, if we look at our data, the vendors, even though we've got them listed, we don't have the group that they're associated with, just like we had with the reps. All right, so we're going to have to manually do this. But again, doing it the way I'm about to show you is going to be much, much quicker than doing it via, by putting a new column in. So we're going to first of all do the Chicago supplier. So we're going to go ahead and click on to, let's say, Alaskan. We're going to go with Asian. And I'm just using my control key for this. The Big Island, the Bigfoot, and the Chicago consumer. Now I could have also just selected all of them like that too, because they're all together. Now once I do that, what do we do then? Do you remember? Do you remember? All right, what you do is you go to Analyze, all right? You go over here to Group Selection, and we'll click up here, and we'll call this one Chicago Suppliers. And there it goes. Perfect. Looks great. All right, now the next group we're going to do are going to be the Australians. All right, so we're going to go ahead and it just so happens it's a convenient thing. They're all together in groups already. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the Congo here and drag it all the way down to the Formaggi. All right, so I'll select that range. Group selection, there we go. And of course this one's going to be the Australian. So there we go. And we got that in there. Pretty nice. I mean, you think about how long it would have taken you to put Chicago or Australian next to every one of the transactions that came from that particular supplier. Unbelievable. All right, for the third one here, we have the gecko, the green iguana, the Guam. I think we're doing Guam. Oh, whatever. And we'll just do all the way down to here. All right. So this is going to be the, we're going to make this the Hawaiian ones. All right. So we got them selected. We'll go back into group it. All right. Click onto here. Hawaiian suppliers. There we go. All right. Now on this one here, we'll click onto here, control key here, here, this one, and this one. So I'm just doing that. Now it doesn't really matter if you selected this one or this one. It'll work either way. Now I'll go back here and I'll hit group. All right. And group 4, we're going to call this one the Pacific. Might not make sense, but it's the suppliers here. All right. And then our last group here, we're going to just select it like this. Hit our analyze, hit our group. All right. And this one's going to be the Atlantic. All right. There we go. So there's our data. Looks pretty good. I mean, that is very, very powerful. And you know, if you're a quick typist, whatever, you can actually do that pretty quick. So we knocked that off in a fraction of the time it would have taken us to go back into here and put that column in there and fill it in with whatever they correspond to. So very, very powerful. Now, one last thing we'll do here is we're going to leave the group in there, all right? But we're going to pull off the vendor and replace it with the category. So the food category. So we'll take the category here, drag it underneath there, and there we go. So now we can actually see each of the supplier groups and what they supply to us, and the revenue, cost of goods, and the profit that we generated for each of them. So over each of the years. So very, very powerful stuff. Okay, so hopefully you liked the video. Hopefully you can start using some of this stuff. Appreciate you watching. Take care.